Greetings, greetings, greetings. It's your girl here. I wanted to share the word that's just really been in my spirit this week, and it just keeps resonating. The word liberation, liberation, liberation. And I'm sure, we've heard this word, tossed it around, but really looking at it and how it looks in our lives. Like, what does liberation look like? What does it feel like, even? And I was thinking about yesterday how when I cut all my hair off, I had worn locks in my hair for 11 and a half years. And it was a journey. It was a journey. And, but it wasn't all bad. Although some things that were not so good happened, during that journey of growth and cultivating, because there are a lot of things that happen. Now you can go and get quick locks and you can get extensions and all those things. But I thought about that. I went through the whole process from the budding to the ugly phase to the locking part, going from not being able to wash my hair every other day if I wanted to and change my style to having to go once a month and get my hair washed. It was a process, y'all. But I really came to understand why people that had locked their hair talked about the spiritual journey, because there was a lot, and even the energies and things that are intertwined. Every time I went to get my hair retwisted, like just coiling and palm rolling, all those things, into my hair. And I was also very particular about who did my hair. So when my loctician was not available, I asked her, okay, I need somebody that has you understand, what I need, the energy, all those things was important to me, because I was very protective of that. And it taught me so much about myself. And then the day that I woke up, this was totally random. I had been thinking about it for some time. I think I might have been 2 weeks in post a retwist. So I had just gone and paid several hundred dollars to get my retwist. And then um, I woke up that morning and I said, this is the morning. And that was the morning that I searched frantically for a barbershop to go to that would cut my locks off and then cut my hair. I don't know how in the world I ended up in College Park, but I went all the way to College Park to get my hair cut. And I remember sitting in the chair and the guy was like, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" I said, "Don't ask me any questions. Just cut my hair." But it was just cut my hair. And when you make that decision, and I remember looking at the locks fall to the ground, and I didn't really know how I was going to feel. I really did not. But when I tell you, when I got up there out of that chair, the feeling of freedom and liberation and the weight of all the things that had transpired in those 11 and a half years prior fell off. It fell to the ground. I mean, like literally. So I say all that to say that I know that there are things in our lives that we are attached to that bring so much weight unnecessarily to us and to our lives. But I believe it's in John chapter 8, the scripture says that whom the Son sets free is free indeed. And free signifies liberation, being set free, let go. I mean, just total surrender in some things. And some of us are still holding on to a lot of things that, have happened to us, happened for us even. And it weighs heavy. It weighs so heavy on us. But the moment that we decide that I no longer want to be hindered and held down by this weight unnecessarily, that will be the moment of your liberation. Think about being in prison. I've never been there, and that's a place I never want to go. But if you have, if not, you have an imagination. And just imagine being in prison for a very, 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 very long time. You learn the ways, to survive, so that you can get through to the other side. You're in shackles, you're behind bars, you have limited access to this, that, or the other. And then all of a sudden one day your name is called. It's your day. It's your day to be released from prison. What do you think? What do you do? How do you feel? Where do you go? There are so many questions that I know begin to flood your mind. And that is exactly what happened to me on that day as I sat in that barber chair. But when I looked up, when I stood up and I looked in the mirror and I saw this new me, I embraced her confidently. I patted her on the back and I said, "You did that, girl." Because that was my moment of liberation and freedom, like none other. I will always trace it back to that day because that day I let go of a lot of weight, a lot of spirits, a lot of emotional entanglements. I let it go that day. And there is no greater feeling than being liberated from something to which you have been bound for so very long. So when you come out of that place and you decide, because you have to decide to surrender, you have to decide to give it up. You have to choose that you no longer want to be bound. So you won't ever have to be bound again, at least not by the same thing, and not allow yourself to get caught up and tangled up in another web. All right, y'all. I'm just talking to y'all casually. It's like 7 minutes, but I had to share my heart. So there you have it. Get free. Get liberated. Okay? Toodles.